let's check out what we got going here. So the Apple Cup was not as competitive as we all hoped and dreamed it would be.
I didn't hope and dream it would be competitive.
I wanted
it to be a blowout.
Never mind. I wanted it to be competitive, and it wasn't, and it sucked. But for the west side of the state, it was a good day, and Lacey, it was a good day. So the Huskies walked away with a 45-17 win over the Cougars. Kellen, you are our resident football expert. Why did the game turn out the way it did?
Well, the Huskies came into that game, and they were extremely calm and collected. They did not let the implications of how big this game was impact the way they played. They didn't let the fact that the game was played in Pullman affect them. And I was very, very impressed by that. It shows a lot of maturity over in Seattle. When they ran a double pass on the first drive of the game, it really stood out to me, as well as my father, because it showed that they really weren't afraid of the moment. They were going to go after this win. They weren't afraid to make those kind of plays. And sometimes teams come into other team stadiums, especially in a big game, and they're just kind of conservative. But they went out guns a-blazing, and I respect that. The Huskies' goal line defense is what won that football game. The Cougars could have scored 21 points, in my opinion, that were left on the board. 2 goal line stands and just a brutal JC quarterback throw by Luke Falk right before halftime. That would have been big-time momentum heading into the second half. You got to give a lot of credit to the Huskies' goal line defense, Christian.
Yeah, I think that's right. So you mentioned Luke Falk. He was not very good last Friday.
That
Drew,
was a very nice way to put it.
How would you analyze his play?
He couged it.
Yeah.
He couged it. He did the standard. I mean, hey, you know what? Tip of the hat. This is the first time in more than a few years that a Wazoo quarterback actually made it through the entire game or played in the game for the Cougs, which was kind of nice to see. But Luke Falk stood there and proved the age-old adage: ball security is job security. You're not going to win too many games when you turn the ball when you throw 3 picks. You're just putting yourself in a huge hole. And he just wasn't very good. He didn't look comfortable the entire game. The UW defense did a really good job of not letting him do what he wanted to do with the ball.
He had a few drops, too, as well, especially in that first drive that would have got him at least a touchdown, I think.
And that just kills your momentum as a quarterback, because if you know you're putting the ball in the right spot and the wideout still can't catch it, then you know your day's just going to be rough.
Yeah. Lacey, are we paying too much attention to how poorly the Cougars played and not enough about how well the UW defense did, shutting down one of the best offenses in the conference?
Yeah, I think the Huskies' defense did spectacular. There were 10 dogs who had 3 or more tackles on defense. Buda Baker was leading the team with 8 total tackles. And Drew already mentioned the dogs had 3 interceptions on defense. It was a total team effort there. They held the Cougars to 269 passing yards and only 65 rushing yards. The defense definitely should not be overlooked in this game.
Drew, Jake Browning was efficient. He was effective. What did you think of his day?
Jake had a great day. Threw the ball well. Didn't take any undue risks with the ball, especially in Pullman. He got out of the pocket when he needed to, stayed in when he should have. It was just one of those solid Jake Browning games that we've become used to seeing. I mean, yeah, he had a quick stumble, pun intended, at USC. Just couldn't stay on his feet. And it's been good to see him come back and spin the ball a little bit.
21-29, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's just
that's
efficient.
If
you give him the time to throw, he's going to hurt you. Anything more than 3 seconds for Jake Browning, you might as well just hand the ball to the wide receiver.
Yep, Browning was 21 of 29 for 292 yards and 3 touchdowns. Lacey, what other skill position players kind of stuck out to you during this game?
A couple guys stood out to me. Running back Levon Coleman had 82 yards rushing on just 10 attempts for 2 touchdowns for the Dogs. And then Dante Pettis was impressive as always. 86 receiving yards from just 3 catches and 2 touchdowns for him as well.
Yeah, that's another efficient day. Kellen, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but Chris Peterson has a history of being very successful with the trickery. It seemed like the UW offense used a lot of trick plays when they may not have needed to. What's your take on the play calling? Did they need to use all those trick plays? Is it okay to just pull these trick plays out whenever you feel like it because you can? What do you think about it?
Why is everyone looking at me?
Because I'm asking you.
Because POU football in your relationship to their offensive coordinator has a affinity of trick plays.
Oh, well, I wasn't intending to go there, but sure. Kellen, what do you think of the
trick
plays?
My stance on trick plays has always been if it gains yards, does it really matter? If you're gaining yards, that's a great thing. The Huskies have run that double pass many times. The first time they did it was against USC. I remember watching it with my dad 2 years ago. He stopped the video, stopped the game, and grabbed out his pen and pad, wrote that play down. We called it Trojan Horse. We scored on that against Linfield 2 years ago with DJ Winter throwing from Ben Welch. So in my opinion, I don't think the Huskies were worried that they were running too many trick plays in this game. It's not one of those things where they're like, let's save it for Colorado, let's save it for Alabama. No. If trick plays work, they work. And it's one of those things where, yes, teams will scout them, but that trick play is not one of those things where it's going to be a big deal because they ran that. So I think it was great play calling by Pearson. I believe there was at least 2 or 3. I know there was 2 for sure trick plays in this game. And I even remember one of the broadcasters talking about the fact that they don't really need to do these things, but yet they're gaining yards. I think the other trick play, they grabbed the pass interference. So if you're moving the ball up and down the field, really who cares how you're calling the game?
That's fair. Looking forward, the Huskies